You're more than a leader.
A teacher.
A mentor. A motivator.
You're more than their first fan.
You're the difference between giving up
And going farther.
turning potential into progress. Because you don't just shape players, you shape people.
You are a coach.
And your next step starts here.
So we're 12 days old. August 13th we launched, Matt, and as the USTA worked through the strategy of 35 by 35, so 35 million players by 2035, really out of that work, three key pillars that came through that: players, facilities, and coaches. And fundamentally, for the USTA to really continue to protect the growth of the game, you have to protect the delivery of the game, which is fundamentally the coaches. So we made the decision as we worked through that piece that the USTA had needed to have more of a direct role in coaching in America to really, as I said, continue to drive the growth of the game, but also to protect the future of the game for decades to come. So that's where it was driven from. The last sort of 12 months, we've been building this business. I do want to say to the listeners that it's a separate subsidiary company of the USTA. So USTA Coaching will have its own board. Megan and I are obviously co-leading this and really excited by the agility that gives us, do you know what I mean, to be able to make sure that we're focusing on coaches at all levels and we're giving them the service, the reward, the education and the benefits that they need to be able to deliver this game for decades to come. I do want to touch on this and then I'll let Megan jump in if there's anything else to add, but it is really focusing, Matt, on the whole ecosystem of delivery. So whether you're a parent that wants to introduce their kids to the game down at the local park, there's going to be resources for you. Into PE teachers and high school coaches that are fundamental to the growth of the game. We're working with the ITA on college coaches, and then moving into more certifications for people who want to make a career out of it, whether it be even part time or fully sort of professionally certified coaches, all the way through to high performance. So the whole gamut or the whole ecosystem is what USTA Coaching is going to serve. And then in one location, we can really serve up everything that they need to make life as easy as we can for them.
Okay, and as you guys know, in Florida, there's so many great junior tennis players. It's a big scene. The tournaments are incredible. The academies are there. Public facilities get some amazing young players. What do you guys see as the right way to coach, and in Florida specifically, to make that journey from tournament player to eventually hopefully a college player to maybe even eventually a pro?
You want to jump in there?
You
Okay. So I think it's really important, Matt, as we think about the journey of a player. So as you think about the player pathway, and you've just referenced it, 6-8-year-old, down at a Florida park and rec, you know what I mean, playing with their parents, then starting to develop the skills for them to ultimately maybe have lessons, start to play a level 7 junior tournament all the way through to, the Orange Bowl that's held in South Florida, and then ultimately go to the pro. Fundamentally, we need to make sure that the coaches, parents, high school teachers have the skills and the resources to be developmentally appropriate for where that player is at that time. So outside of teaching, swings and grips and forehands and backhands, we're really finding, based on the research, the importance of mental health, meeting the players where they are. So giving them how to empower girls if you're working with young women. So what we're finding through the research is not just necessarily forehands, backhands, technical, tactical, but giving the coaches, based on meeting the player where they are, the skill set required to continue to be able to move those players forward. So it's a continuum. Do you know what I mean? It's not a scenario where this one coach necessarily needs to be a unicorn because players are working through their own development pathway. But it's making sure that we're meeting the coaches to meet the players where they are within that journey. Coaching a player, and Megan played on the tour, so I'll let her talk to this, but coaching a player on the tour is very different to introducing, 6-year-olds, at a park in Florida, do you know what I mean, into the game, and it's very different. But what is foundational is we want people to have fun. We want them to be moving and playing and experiencing everything this great game gives you.
Okay, so Megan, you achieved the
Yeah.
achieved the dream.
Yeah.
So how did you do it? how will USTA coaching sort of help that journey for a young player to make it all the way to the top? It's the dream. So tell us your story and how you think USA coaching can help.
Yeah, for me personally, I was really lucky. I had great coaches. I had a great coach when I first started at 6 that really encouraged me just to enjoy what I was doing and recognize that I seemed to have a little talent. And so it really helped my parents kind of guide me along the process. My parents did not have a tennis background, they had a sports background. And so I think one of the things that we want to do is make sure that any parent that's coming to USTA coaching will have really easy to access resources with the internet and with social media. There's so many places that you can look for things, but you're not sure, is it accurate? Who's it by? With USDA coaching, I think people are really going to see that we found the best people in the world who have the best type of educational content, whether that's our own internal team creating the tennis specific content or someone like Positive Coaching Alliance or the Tucker Center for Girls and Women in Research and Sport. So really looking at curating content so that when people come to USDA coaching, they'll know that it's really the best and most recent information that can really help guide them. It continued on my pathway. So when I was in college, I had an outstanding coach. And we know that girls are dropping out of sport at a higher rate than boys. And so I had coaches that really were supportive and were really encouraging. And so for us, that's also really important of as we're seeing increases in cognitive disabilities or ADHD or girls dropping out of sport for body confidence issues, how can we really take holistic education, bring it to this one platform and offer it up so that people really feel like, to Craig's point, they're able to support players however they are, whoever they are, and whatever their background is. And I think the same thing with adaptive sport. Wheelchair tennis is one of our badges as well. So making sure that anyone that wants to play tennis is able to work with a coach who has the education that can support them. And then when you get to the pros, I think it's not just about having a great coach, but also understanding the business. So making sure that we're also having business content so that coaches know, how to be a better business person, how to market yourself, which could be then transferred over to teaching the players that as well. So look, would it be incredible if every coach, taught the next Coco Gauff? Of course, but obviously the majority of coaches are really introducing tennis to kids or adults, or they're helping people just continue to love the game. And I think ultimately what we want with USTA and with USTA coaching is just to inspire people to have healthier lives. And so the more that we can promote that through giving coaches the tools, the better.
Yeah.
And some of our readers are coaches and they're pros and they're, at a country club or they're at a public park or they're just training privately. So a few questions there would be, why is it important to get certified? That's the first question, obviously. And the second one is there's a number of different certifications available. What makes USTA coaching different?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that to the first point, it's not just about certification, which that's really important because certification is showing that you have gone through a rigorous education pathway. And just as you would hopefully not go to a doctor that's not that hasn't gone through the right education and certification, I think what we really want to try to continue to encourage consumers is that they're looking at coaches to ensure that they have gone through some sort of training and education. And also with USC coaching, because we have so many different badges and modules, we really are allowing coaches to be able to select from different topics that are interesting to them. And then that way they can pair themselves with the right type of coach or the right type of player. And also with USTA coaching, coaches will have access to liability insurance. So they know that they're protected financially, as well as from a safety perspective. They all have to be safe play approved. So we know that they're creating safe environments for kids and for young adults. And also they'll have benefits and services that can help them both on and off the court. So whether it's telehealth, or whether it's accident insurance, if they get injured on the job, they'll be able to recoup some of that income. So it's not just about certification, but it is a further professionalization of the sport. And I think that's really important as we look to create great experiences for people that this is someone that's really dedicating the time and resources in order to become the best coach that they can be.
Yeah, and just on that, we did a lot of research, and got data from coaches as we certainly built this structure. So the education is really comprehensive. So clearly, the foundational face-to-face and online courses on how to coach tennis are all there. But to Megan's point, there's badges around how to restring rackets, the business of coaching, empowering girls, running social activities, understanding competition, wheelchair. We're going to get into adaptive. We're working with the ITA around certification for college coaches. So we live in a world right now where people that are walking onto a tennis court are coming from all walks of life with different opportunities and challenges, and the coaches need to understand how to meet their players where they are. So the education we think that USTA Coaching is going to put in the marketplace is a lot more comprehensive than what maybe tennis coaching education looked like 5 or 10 years ago, because our players and the people who want to consume this game and have lessons look very different to what they did and the way they experience sort of or interact right now. What they did, as I said, 10 years ago. So that for us is really important as we go forward, and we think that's a really distinguishing piece. We'll also have the badges that'll end to Megan's point, going to certifications, but we'll then be building out specialists and masters. So whether you're a master performance coach, we'll have a business stream that'll have specialists and masters courses to move through. We want to make sure that we allow the coaches to identify their pathway, but also use the different levels of certification to position themselves in the marketplace in their community. So, our badges are very much, this is wheelchair, empowering girls, inclusive coaching, mental health. So then when players and facility owners and operators are looking for coaches, our system will be very clear about what these people have been educated in and what they can do based on competence, which we think is going to be a real game changer for the industry. So if I'm looking, I've got a 6-year-old girl, I want my coach to have done the Empowering Girls badge, to understand how to work with my daughter, then that's going to be something that we're going to be able to tell that story. Or if I'm a high performance coach and I've done the USTA master performance thing, then I've got a young Megan Bradley who wants to go on the tour, and I need somebody who's got that certification. So we think that will be a really important story to be able to tell the industry.
Very much so. And then so it sounds like there's a lot of video-based modules.
Yeah.
Great training online.
Yeah.
Is there going to be an opportunity to do like a big weekend, sort of once a year, some kind of in-person training? So, because so much of tennis, I used to teach tennis as well. You want to be on court. You want to see it in action. You want to actually see balls being fed, drills being run.
Yeah.
Is that in the works?
It is. So in 2026, we'll have our first USTA Coaching Summit. So that'll be held around Fan Week of US Open next year, and an opportunity for USTA Coaching members to come and have a great, we haven't kind of nailed down the exact number of days, but great content, really holistic education, opportunities for coaches to connect, build community. So we're really excited to bring that back. If you're familiar with the Tennis Teachers Conference, that is essentially what we're going to bring back, just kind of under the USTA Coaching umbrella. Have the opportunity for manufacturers to come and have booth space so that they can engage with the coaches as well. So we really want to take kind of everything that the USTA has at its fingertips, whether that's access to great brands, access to the US Open, access to great speakers, and really bring that all together to create a great opportunity for coaches to learn and engage with each other.
And on that too, so we'll have a series of face-to-face courses, particularly as coaches want to get certified, Madden, and we will have coaching education centers around the country. So we're identifying these key centers that will drive the face-to-face training. We spend a lot of resources in training our coach developers. These are the people who run our courses, do you know what I mean, to the coaches. We have a coach development academy where people get licenses to be able to run USTA coaching courses. So then on regular basis around the country, based on where our playing populations are, coaches know that, hey, at this venue is a coach education center. I need to look out because every 2 or 3 weeks or a couple of months, there'll be courses that I can come with my local cohort and learn and build a community, because the research said that was important as well. Coaches do want to feel connected to one another, both locally but also nationally. So we'll have coach education centers, ideally regional workshops, and then ultimately, culminating here at the US Open to have a national conference, which would be really cool. And people are generally really excited by that as well. So
that sounds great.
Yeah. Great.
I want to check that out.
Hey, I'm going to check if you're a member as soon as this interview's finished too. So don't worry about that. You said you're a coach, so I'll get you on that. Yeah.
It's been a while, but I still think it on the court.
It's all good. It's all good.
So now looking ahead, obviously right now, the big thing is technology, right?
Yeah.
You got Swim Vision, I saw USTA does some stuff with Dartfish
Yeah.
to analyze biomechanics and things like that. and just analytics are a big part of what's going on using technology. Are
Yeah.
you going to be empowering coaches to kind of get ahead of the pack with technology and different technology sort of modalities that are out there right now?
Yeah, I'll jump in and then
Yeah,
me.
please.
So one of the things that we're doing, particularly as we start to look at the specialist and master streams in performance,
Yeah.
one of the things that our player development coaches use a lot is technology and data analytics. They do a fantastic job. So the vision is that we start to build online modules to how to tag matches and how to understand analytics, how to utilize some of the systems that you reference swing vision and these pieces. So that will certainly be part of the education to make sure that coaches, if they're a little bit sensitive about how to use technology, they can go and look at a module online in the privacy of their own home and understand how that can add value to their business, whether it be a participation or a performance piece. And then one of the other pieces where clearly artificial intelligence is coming really quickly. So we all use it. Megan uses it more than me, by the way. But from our point of view, what does the future of artificial intelligence going to look like for coaches? Do you know what I mean? Is it going to get to a world where we can go to our phone and say, hey, I'm coaching a young Matt. He's got a world tennis number of X. I've got a 45-minute session. I'll work on his serve me up, a lesson plan. So we know that's coming and really quickly. We want to get ahead of that, and again, be a service to the coaches. So as we build the foundation for USTA coaching, which is what we've done, both Megan and I know that this business will look very different in 4 or 5 years' time. And we want to make sure that USTA coaching is really holding the hands of the coaches in understanding technology, artificial intelligence, and teaching them on how to utilize it to make their careers more profitable, to generate more revenue, but clearly to give a better experience for our players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm a Connecticut guy. I moved down to
Yeah.
Florida. I played in junior tennis down here in Florida. Then moved down here later in life, playing some senior tournaments, loving the
Yeah.
sunshine and the competition. I work with some of the other certification platforms, and believe it or not, it's like 60% plus of their membership is from Florida.
Yeah.
And of course, with Florida Tennis Magazine, our big question is, what makes Florida so special? And are you doing anything special in Florida?
Go for it.
I consider myself a Floridian at this point. I've been here for a really long time, and my kids were both born in Florida, so Florida is definitely special. Look, I think obviously the weather is a huge part because it's an opportunity. I mean, we talk to our colleagues in Pacific Northwest or in the Northeast, and they really struggle with having to find temporary coaches for the boom, and then they have to reduce workforce in the winter. And so, obviously having the opportunity to have more time on court is great. I think I'd like to obviously shout out Laura Bowen, the executive director and CEO of USTA Florida. She's done an incredible job with looking at bringing innovative concepts to Florida, to the public park system, owning facilities in Florida, and how they can make sure that they're really doing first-in-class coach education and supporting the coaches. But ultimately, I think that it's a great showcase of how if you have great coaches, you create great experiences, then you have consistency of retention. And that's really ultimately what we want to get to, is that coaches delivering great experiences, increase retention, and then we hit, 25, 30, 20, 35 by 2035 and continue to keep growing. So I think Florida is a great example and great model for what the rest of the country can be doing, which is just making sure that you're always innovating and looking for new ways to enhance the player experience and also enhance how you're supporting and uplifting coaches.
And Megan's point on Laura is one. She's incredibly innovative. She continues to push the boundaries, you know what I mean, for this sport. So the beauty about Megan and I being based at the national campus and Laura being across the road is that she's really open to test and pilot different sort of thinking around how we engage coaches. And she's come to Megan with some thoughts that we're going to embrace. So it's an opportunity for us to really pilot. I'll call out Chuck Gill, who's the current president of USTA Florida as well, who's obviously an incredible coach and somebody that a lot of coaches around this whole country looks up to. So we've got a really strong base in Florida for all the reasons that Megan said, but it's also an opportunity because we're there as well at the national campus and working in partnership with USA Florida to really test different things, whether it be on the campus or whether it be the facilities at the USA Florida or driving or facilities, like Chuck has in Wellington as well. So the opportunities are endless for us to really use Florida as an R&D center too for coaching and the future of coaching.
That's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
Laura.
Yeah, they are.
Actually, it's funny.
Yeah.
We're gonna wrap up with a fun question.
Yeah.
That I actually
Megan goes first.
We're Chuck actually at the No Review Show.
Yeah.
250. Chuck and I had a really good conversation, and okay, if you have one tip to give to the Florida tennis readers about how to get better at tennis, just as a fun question, what would that be?
Oh man.
With the modern game, thinking ahead, how the game's changing now, like what are you seeing with younger players?
Yeah.
What do they need to work on?
Yeah. Do you want me to go?
I would say like the physicality of it. I think that generationally we're seeing that the physicality of tennis is getting so much more intense. You're seeing players like Alcaraz, and you're seeing players like Coco, who are just so athletic and they're so quick. So I feel like there's the fitness part of it and making sure that you're physically able to do it, but balancing that in a really like fair way to your body. I think what I'm seeing too often just in youth sports in general is just overuse.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be on the court for 6 hours a day. It's more like, quality over quantity. And so making sure that there's a balance of rest as well as, strength training and on-court fitness, but then also with the hitting. So that would be, I think my biggest recommendation would just be making sure that there's a balance to all of it.
So I should just say ditto, just to agree with Megan. I shouldn't, but no, I couldn't
That'd be
agree more.
boring.
But for me, to excel in anything, you've got to love what you do. So, to have a passion for the game, to have fun. Do you know what I mean? Clearly, to be driven and all the things that you need to do to become successful in anything. But I would love the youth of today to embrace the game and to have fun and to use it for what it is. Do you know what I mean, as they go on that journey, because that's really important. We can talk about have an all-court game and make sure you work on your volleys as well, because you can't just stay at the baseline, and you got to be able to kick a serve and you've got to be able to do all the pieces and the physical. But at the end of the day, the core of somebody being successful, whether it's running a business or whether it's on a tennis court or wherever their direction goes, you've got to be really passionate. You've got to love what you do. Do you know what I mean? And I think a core aspect of just fun and social and physicality that Megan spoke about is really is foundational to that. And that goes back to our coaches. Do you know what I mean? Creating environments where people are not too anxious and to be able to enjoy and embrace development. And it's okay to fail or lose a match, or we're all on a journey to be the best we can be. The coaches create those environments, but don't take yourself too seriously. Do you know what I mean? It's a joy to play this great game, and we should be embracing everything about it.
Yeah, that's a great way to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Think about imparting that information to coaches.
Yeah.
It's not just about 6 hours on
Yeah.
court. It's about recovery. It's
Yes.
about a 360-degree approach to development.
Yeah.
Rest, recovery, stretching, nutrition, fitness. What do you do in the gym? So much more than that. And at the end of the day, have fun out there.
Yeah.
Burn out.
Yeah.
Which is part of not paying 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
That's right.
And make sure that you maintain and
Yeah.
build and grow that passion for the game. As long as coaches can do that successfully,
Yeah.
I think that could be a really great future.
Yeah.
So,
Agreed. And this game takes you in different directions. Look at Megan; she's running a business here. We're sitting in Florida. And
Because I wasn't a good enough tennis player.
No. But this sport takes you. Look, I'm Australian. I've been here 10 years. You know what I mean? Having this conversation about the importance of coaches in the US. So if you love what you do, we've got an unbelievable game. It's the greatest game in the world. Stay close to that passion, and then this sport will take you wherever it could take you. So and don't have any limitations on that, but enjoy the ride. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just that, it's a ride, and it's one of the greatest rides in the world. This sport gives us.
that's great. Well, where can people find out more information on USTA coaching? Can they do that online?
USDAcoaching.com. We make it really easy.
How
Yeah.
about the social media?
We are on Instagram, we are on LinkedIn, and then we have a Facebook page also. So all under USTA Coaching.
And also here at the USTA.
And here at the US Open, we have a booth behind Court 17, sharing with the USTA membership booth. So stop by. And then also in the stadium, you'll get to see our commercial as well as our great branding that we're super excited about. So.
And I'd love Megan to tell you about what we're doing for the coaches who coach the champions at the events as well. first time.
So we'll be able to offer coaching awards or award coaching awards presented by USTA Coaching. So all of the events that are happening off of ASH, any coach that's here with their player that wins the US Open. So that's everything from junior and junior wheelchair up to the professional wheelchair will be able to present their coaches. So really having the opportunity to follow in what the team has been doing for the able-bodied men's and women's championships. And so really having the coaches get the great opportunity to be celebrated for their accomplishment and getting their player to kind of the highest level of that relative, level of competition.
Yeah.
So we're really excited
Excited
about
about
that. And it's going to be a great opportunity for coaches to really feel special and celebrated. So
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The US Open, I love it. Okay, and the last thing, just to lead it off with our readers and viewers of Florida tennis. Any message you guys have for our crowd, both coaches and juniors, and regular players, senior players, becoming players? Any messages you might leave with?
I would say just keep playing. It's
Yeah.
the world's healthiest sport, and it's
Yeah.
a sport that you can play with all generations for as long as you want. And I don't think that there's very many sports or activities that you can do that. So I would just say keep out there, keep going.
And this is where I do say ditto and just leave it at that. It's the world's healthiest sport. Keep playing and have fun.
Yeah.